Hey everyone, this is Coloring Chemist. My name is Connie, and welcome back to my channel. So I have Gelly Roll gel pens all over the place here, and Mr. Coloring Chemist is hovering in the background, threatening to interrupt my filming.
Hello!
That's Mr. Coloring Chemist. Everyone say hello to Mr. Coloring Chemist. Would you like to stick your hand underneath and wave, Mr. Coloring Chemist?
That's okay.
Okay. Goodbye, Mr. Coloring Chemist.
Goodbye. Love the pens.
Thanks. My apologies for that. Continuing on here. So, I found something on Amazon, and I don't know if it's widely known in the coloring community. So I thought, well, I will put out a video and I will let everyone know. You guys are familiar with these pens. I'm sure you are. These are the Gelly Roll Moonlight pens. And the original set, I believe, was these 10 right here. So very bright neon kind of colors. They do have color numbers on the bodies. And I think if you get literature from either the packaging or from the Gelly Roll website, you can get color names. And I mean, they're fun colors, but, you know, there's not a lot there that you can choose from to color landscapes or anything like that, right? Because, I mean, the only green you have is this neon. Well, you kind of have this turquoisey color, but they're very, very bright. They come in a 0.6 millimeter ball and a 1 millimeter ball. And the difference between those two is size, right? And when we're talking about gel pens, the size of the nib does make a difference. Now, sometimes you want a really small, very fine, pointy nib. Maybe you're coloring in teeny, tiny little details. You know, if you're journaling or that sort of thing, you may want a really small nib. The Gelly Roll Moonlight pens come in this 10 set, come in this really small, it says 06 on the cap here, well, the clip on the cap. So that's how you know, and it also says here, Gelly Roll Moonlight 06. So I think this is a 0.6, even though it says 06, 0.6 millimeter tip. Those same 10 bright colors also come in a larger tip. So this is, it says 10 on the clip here, and then it says Gelly Roll Moonlight 10. And so this is their 1.0 millimeter tip. And I'll just take the two pinks here. All right, so you can see it's the same color ink. This says 06, this says 10. It's got a code here, XPGB06, and then it says number 420. This says XPGB10, number 420. So the inks should be identical. The only difference, of course, is the size of the nib. And I'm just going to move these things out of the way here. Keep things separate. So this is the 0.6 over here. I may or may not be using beakers to hold these pens. For those of you that don't know, I'm a chemistry teacher, which is why my channel is Coloring Chemist and why we said hello to Mr. Coloring Chemist earlier. So I do have some lab equipment and things at home. I also homeschooled my daughter, so we did homeschooling at science at home. So beakers, wonderful holders for pens. So when we're talking about a 6 millimeter nib, and I will probably try and zoom in a bit here. Hopefully the lighting is okay. A little bit dark and shadowy. Sorry about that. I have all my lights on. I'm not sure why it's so dark and shadowy. So, you know what? It still flows quite well. You know, considering that's a 0.6 millimeter nib, it just takes a longer time, right, to fill in a square versus, can you see the difference there? Hopefully you can. It's just, you know, the larger nib is much nicer flowing. You know, I can get, it's just less scribbly. It, you know, it fills in the space. Here, I'll come in even further. Maybe bright pink wasn't the greatest. And I think my camera's having a hard time focusing on the white paper too. My apologies. But hopefully you can see the difference there. So again, here was that's the 10, they call it, nib. And there's the 06. So you can definitely see a difference in terms of size of the nib. I prefer this one for coloring. And I think a lot of people do, unless they're doing really, really, tiny, fine details. We tend to prefer that larger nib. And so up till recently, we had, like I say, we had these sort of 10 original, very bright, neon kind of colors available in both nib sizes. Also in this larger nib size, I think their metallics are the larger nib, their glaze pens are the larger nib, their souffle pens, which are similar to the... I sometimes will use these souffle pens interchangeably with the Moonlight pens. The souffle pens can also be fairly opaque. I mean, that's the big thing about these Moonlight pens, right? And I do actually have 2 pieces of black. These are actually black Post-its, kind of neat, on the bottom here, just to show you. So this is, again, the 10 millimeter. And maybe I'll keep the 10 millimeter on this side. I mean, that's the brilliance of, come in a bit here again, sorry, of the Moonlight ink, right? It shows up on black paper. And it shows up on black paper, right? Both nib sizes. The souffle pens also, once they're dry, it doesn't look like much there, I know now, but I don't know if I can get it to dry by blowing on it. When it dries, it does show up more opaque. So there's some really neat benefits to these Moonlight pens. They also recently came out with a pack of 5. These are still Gelly Roll Moonlight, and they call them their pastel colors. And there they are right there. And once again, just like any other Moonlight pen, they are opaque on black paper. These are, the pastel ones were also the 10, so the Gelly Roll Moonlight 10. And they have color numbers that say, like, this says 426P. This says 420P. The one I was using before, remember this very bright pink, just says 420. So same color family, we've got 2 pinks, but this is pastel. And again, these 10 millimeter nibs, right? They're opaque on the black, really nice. And this was 5 nicer colors, right? They are, not to say that the brights aren't nice. They're fun, right? Again, we had the, let's come back out here. We had the colors up here. They're fun colors, but they're not earthy, landscapey colors. And I really like coloring earthy, landscapey kind of things. So I didn't tend to use those original 10 Moonlight colors for much, right? They just didn't. These pastel ones, I'm finding I'm using a little bit more, but they still didn't have, a really nice earthy green in there, let's say. And a few years ago, so I'm going to get these pastel ones out of the way. As far as I know, these pastel ones, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think these pastel come in the 06 nib, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe. I can't remember. I don't have the 06 nib in the Moonlight, the pastel ones. I think they only came out in the 10, which is the 1.0 millimeter nib, I think. A couple of years ago, Gelly Roll did come out with a more earthy set of Moonlight pens. Now, I don't have the original packaging for a lot of these pens because I threw it away. And they came out with these earthy colors. I think they call them earth colors or jewel colors or something like that. And they came in a pack of 10. I think you could also get them in 2 packs of 5. You can also get a lot of these pens open stock in different places. But this was sort of a more muted pastel, not really pastel, a muted color palette. And I really like these pens, particularly some of these greens, right? This was, it's number 432. I don't actually remember what the color name is, but again on black, like all Moonlight pens. And sorry, that's probably really hard to see, but you have to trust me. It is showing up on black. It's this really lovely leaf green, like almost a sap green or a kind of an olivey green. Not really olive either, kind of a yellowy green. But it's just a really, really nice, pretty green color. It's not neon. It's not, any of those kinds of things. And so I like using this set of the Moonlights better than the original 10. Just because these are colors that appeal more to my color palette, the kind of, palette that I normally, gravitate towards. There's some really pretty purples in here, right? This one is that one's almost, there we go. Sometimes you just have to encourage them. But it's a really pretty kind of deeper plum color. There was a really lovely lilac color in here. Like I say, there's that really nice yellow. And it looks much like that's that color. So you can't really go by the cap color there. It's a much more muted color when it comes out on paper. There was almost like a taupe color. I guess it's a little darker than taupe, but there was another green in there as well. But even that was, it's not those really neon colors. Like a brown, which is, you don't often get brown. So I really enjoyed these colors, but it always made me kind of sad that as far as I knew, they only made these colors in the 0.6 millimeter nib size. Because like I say, it's difficult unless you're doing teeny tiny details. You're taking forever to fill in a space, and it tends to look scribbly no matter what you do, because the ink, not enough ink comes out to just kind of flow out. Whereas, when I was doing these two things up here with that larger nib size, it's just, the ink just comes out, it kind of flows, it fills in the little spaces, and it's really lovely to color with. They also, so yeah, this set of 10 earthier tones in the 0.6 millimeter nib. And they also, I think about the same time, close to the same time, came out with a set of 6 grays. Future editing Connie here. Not 6 grays, 5 grays. Sorry about that. There are only 5 gray pens. I don't know why I said 6. Probably because I had just been saying the 0.6 millimeter nib. I'm not sure. But there were only 5 grays in that set. Also in the 0.6 millimeter nib size. And there's some warm grays in here, some cool grays. Again, none of these are metallic, but they are all opaque on black paper. Again, the grays were really lovely too. But coloring with that 0.6 millimeter nib is really kind of a pain. So I had these 0.6 millimeter Gelly Roll pens, Moonlight pens, and I did like them. And then, was it last year? I was on Amazon, and I have no idea why this came up or why I even noticed it. But and I'm kind of lucky I did in a way, because I knew about those set of 5 gray Gelly Roll Moonlight pens in the 0.6 millimeter nib. And when I saw these for sale, I kind of just sort of, oh, that's the gray pens. I have those. But then I looked closer. I don't know if can you see what it says on the clip? 10. So here we've got the set of 5 grays with the 06 on the clip. Here's a set of 5 grays with 10 on the clip. Same colors, larger nibs. So I was pretty excited about that. So I purchased these. This was before I started my channel. Last year sometime. Last spring maybe? And, again, so I'll just grab 2 of the darker grays here. They both say number 444 in terms of color. The 06, again, it's that again, not to say that the ink doesn't flow. It does. They're Gelly Roll pens. They're, you know, I've always found them to be good quality. But the 10, the ink just, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's the same ink. It's a different nib size. It's just that much easier to fill in and color with. So I was pretty excited when I saw this package of the grays in the 1mm nib size. And I will try and remember to link all of these down below because, again, I'm not sure, or maybe people just don't do a lot of coloring with them. That might be too. But you know, I watch Jennifer Stay a lot. Coloring Bliss, wonderful, lovely channel. And I know she really loves a good, bold, broad nib on her gel pens. And I don't know, Jennifer, if by some miracle you happen to be watching this, they make the grays and the 10s. So I will try and remember to link that down below where I got these on Amazon. Guess what I found just the other day? Are you ready? Here, we'll come out a bit. Earth kind of palette, right? So that's the same, you know, colors as, you know, these kinds of colors where we had the, you know, these ones I was scribbling out here. They're not, you know, they're still the Gelly Roll Moonlight, but they're more the, I think they called them earth tones or jewel tones or something like that. And again, I saw these and I'm like, oh, you know, well, I have those, but should we take them out of the package together? I don't know if you can see on the cap there what I was so excited about. Because up here it's got 10 pens, but the other packaging says 10 pens too, because there's 10 pens. But it wasn't the fact that there was 10 pens. These are Moonlight 10 nibs, which means that these are those gorgeous, lovely, muted colors that I love so much, but in the larger nib size. Yay! So here's this amazing, I'm trying to keep the 06s off to this side and the 10s off to that side. So I'm trying to keep everything separate. So here's the 06. So this is number 432. It's like the leafy light green. This is Gelly Roll Moonlight, number 432, but the larger nib. So again, here we've got the 06. You know, I can fill in that square. Just takes me a while because you have to do lots of little scribbly motions, and it's still, I don't know, you don't get the best filling in there. I've just taken these out of the package, so we're going to see how they do just out of the package. Oh, look at that. Now, I will say there is a little bit of railroading, which is another term I got from Jennifer Stay, Coloring Bliss. It's basically when it's almost like the end of the nib kind of forces the ink into two parts when you lay it down. So there's sort of a little white streak, and you'll find that a little bit when you're coloring with them too. But that's so much easier to color with than the 06. Just come in a bit, just so you can see. Sorry, trying to stay on screen here. So again, we've got the 06, the 10, the 06, the 10, the 06, the 10. So we've got all of these lovely, like that's just a lovely grayed purple. Yeah. In the 10 nib size. I mean, how fun is that? Ooh, that one's really juicy. And you know what? They dry. I know they look shiny, but they definitely dry matte. Like you can see up here, that one's already dry. And so, I mean, you're not going to be using them for adding sparkle or, you know, anything like that. But sometimes coloring with these matte gel pens, because they can be even a little bit more matte than, I mean, colored pencils have a bit of a shine, right? Markers don't, I guess. But there's just something about these inks that, I mean, they're different, right? They're gel inks. And they're opaque on black. And I hope, if I come in a little more, maybe you can see that. Right? So here are some of even these dark colors. So this is the new with the larger nib. You can see it there, hopefully. Now that's more difficult to see on black, but you can still see it there, I think. The lighter colors are going to be easier. There's another darker color. This is like it's called 417, so it's like a sepia. But you can still see that on black. Now, I mean, I could see, this is 417 in the 06, and I can see that on black too, right? Can you see it right there? I just was so excited to find the those more muted moonlight colors in the larger nib, and I didn't know they were out. I was hoping, ever since I had found those grays, that set of 5 grays in the larger nib size, I was really hoping that they would come out with this muted set of 10 moonlight colors in the larger nib size, but I hadn't seen it, and then just the other day I saw it on Amazon. Yay! So I will try and put a link down below to the gray set with the larger nibs on Amazon, and this new muted, they're not new colors, but it's in the larger nib size. I'll try and put a link to that on Amazon as well. So we didn't really do any coloring with them, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know that they're out there in case anyone was a Gelly Roll aficionado and was hoping to get those muted colors in a larger nib size. They are out. So I think that's it for this. Not a very long video, although I still managed to yak on for 22 minutes and not even do any coloring. My apologies. And I hope Mr. Coloring Chemist popping in at the beginning was okay too. He does say that he may color with me one day, or he may join me for a video. We'll see. We'll see. If you like what you're seeing on my videos, consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, leaving me a comment, hitting the notification bell, just, yeah, saying hi. Letting a friend know that you found a channel that you like. They might like it too. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is enjoying their coloring. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.